This is Edward's son of the Truth in the Last Days. I don't know if you heard about this book called the Book of Enoch. I just recently stumbled upon this book by chance. And in this book there's an amazing prophecy. The prophecy spans from the Genesis until the 1,000 years kingdom and beyond. And then it accurately describes all the happenings in the history of mankind. And what's so amazing about this book is that this is a book supposedly written by Enoch, who was living before the Noah's flood, but it looks like this book was hidden in the Old Testament times, but it just appeared at around 3rd century BC. And in a recent video I posted called The True Purpose of the Bible, I explained that in the Old Testament times, the secret of the kingdom of heaven was hidden to the people of Israel. But in this book, it talks about the kingdom of heaven. And then it just appeared before the first coming of Jesus. And in this book, it talks about the wicked generation that was before the coming of Jesus. And then even before Jesus started to proclaim the kingdom of heaven, this book is talking about the kingdom of heaven. And this book warns about the wicked generation. And very interestingly, after the ascension of Jesus, this book disappeared from the public. And then it reappeared at around 1700. And this book talks about this generation before the second coming of Christ. And it talks about this wicked generation and its apostasy. And so just like what this book did to the wicked generation before the first coming of the Christ, now this book is giving a warning about this wicked generation before the second coming of Christ. So this book is proving that all the Christendom, all the churches are heading to apostasy. And I'd like to share with you the amazing prophecy. And it's in chapter 93, verse 1 and 2. So it goes, "And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books. And Enoch said, concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of uprightness, I will speak these things. Yeah, I, Enoch, will declare them unto you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in the heavenly vision, and which I have known through the word of the holy angels, and have learned from the heavenly tablets." And Enoch began to recount from the books and said, "I was born the 7th in the first week, while judgment and righteousness still endured. And after me there shall arise in the 2nd week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end." He's talking about Noah's flood. "And in it a man shall be saved, and after it is ended, unrighteousness shall grow up, and a law shall be made for the sinners." So in the Noah's flood, only one man was saved and his family. So he's talking about that here. And then after that, in the 3rd week at its close, a man shall be elected as the plant of righteous judgment, and his posterity shall become the plant of righteousness forevermore. So this is talking about Abraham. So he was planted as a plant of righteous judgment. And after that, in the 4th week at its close, visions of the holy and righteous shall be seen, and a law for all generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. So after Abraham, the 10 commandments were given, and book of laws were given through Moses. So the verse 7, after that, in the 5th week at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. So after that, the King Solomon built the house of the Lord, which is the Jerusalem temple. So he's talking about here. And then after that, in the 6th week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all of them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and at its close the house of dominion shall be burnt with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. So this is amazing prophecy of the first coming of Jesus. And it says, in it a man shall ascend. So it's talking about the ascension of Jesus Christ to heaven. So in the verse here, it talks about the wicked generation just before the first coming of Jesus. So this book was warning to that generation before the coming of the Lord. So after the ascension, we know that the Jerusalem temple was attacked and burnt by the Roman soldiers, and after that all the people of Israel was dispersed throughout the world. Verse 9 we continue, and after that in the 7th week shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate. So we know that after Jesus, Catholicism arose, and then many terrible things happened during the Dark Ages, and it says here, many shall be its deeds. They did a lot of things. There will be a mirror of a coming great tribulation. A lot of things that would happen in the coming great tribulation already happened in the Dark Ages. Many people were persecuted horrendously, and it's talking about here, many shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate. And after that, and at its close shall be elected, the elect righteous of the eternal plan of righteousness, to receive sevenfold instruction concerning all his creation. So this is talking about the rapture and the first resurrection. So he says here, all the generations before the rapture, all the generation is apostate. So after the Catholicism, the Protestant movement started, and then the doctrine of salvation by grace and faith alone became the pillar of these Protestant churches. And because of that, the Christians are going against what is true, the truth of God, which is the righteousness, and all the righteous will be elected. That is the truth. But because of the salvation by grace alone, the Christians now believe that although Christians are weak and imperfect, it's impossible to live righteously, but because of God's grace, they will be saved to go to heaven. So most of the Christians are now living in wickedness and impure and unholiness. So this Christendom is going apostate. It's an apostasy, going against God and going against the truth, which is the righteous will be elected. The elect righteous of the eternal plan of righteousness, says here. So this current Protestant churches and all the Catholic churches and all Christianity is going apostate. So it says here, verse 10, after this rapture, in which all the righteous people will be elected to go to heaven, we can go to verse 12, chapter 91. And after that there shall be another, the 8th week, that of righteousness, and a sword shall be given to it, that a righteous judgment may be executed on the oppressors, and sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. This looks like it's talking about God's judgment after the rapture. The 7th trumpet and the 7 bowls of judgment will fall upon the earth, and during that time Jesus will descend on a white horse and kill 1/3 of mankind with his sword and by his holy armies. So he's talking about God's judgment after the rapture. And verse 13, and at its close they shall acquire houses through their righteousness, and a house shall be built for the great king in glory forevermore, and all mankind shall look to the path of uprightness. So after the God's judgment, the 1,000-year kingdom will begin, and all the people who are saved, they will acquire houses. Now they are building the houses in the kingdom of heaven, and it says here, they shall acquire houses through their righteousness. So you acquire your houses in heaven through your righteousness, it says here. And in the 1,000-year kingdom, God's temple will descend from heaven to Jerusalem. So there will be new Jerusalem temple in the 1,000-year kingdom, as it says here. And a house shall be built for the great king in glory forevermore. It's talking about the new Jerusalem temple. And all mankind shall look to the path of righteousness. So in the 1,000-year kingdom, God will be revealed to all the mankind, and his laws will go out to all the world, and people will look to the path of uprightness and righteousness. And 14a, after that, in the 9th week, the righteous judgment shall be revealed to the whole world, and all the works of the godless shall vanish from all the earth, and all the world shall be written down for destruction. So we know that in the book of Revelation it talks about the judgment from the great white throne. It's talking about the judgment after the 1,000-year kingdom, and then it says here, this world shall be destroyed. So verse 15, and after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there shall be the great eternal judgment, in which he will execute vengeance among the angels. And the first heaven shall depart and pass away, and a new heaven shall appear, and all the powers of the heavens shall give sevenfold light. And after that there will be many weeks without number forever, and all shall be in goodness and righteousness, and sin shall no more be mentioned forever. So after the 1,000-year kingdom, there will be a judgment, and then God's kingdom of heaven will endure forever. So this is just an amazing prophecy spanning the entirety of the age of mankind. And what's amazing is that it is determined that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written at around 3rd century BC, and some parts of the Book of Enoch was found among them, and it's talking about the first coming of Jesus and his ascension and the destruction of the Jerusalem temple. So this is a book supposedly written even before the great flood of Noah, and then it's accurately prophesying all the happenings until now and through to the eternity. And this book is once again warning to this wicked generation about its current state. And this book is proving that all the current doctrine of salvation by faith only and salvation by grace is an apostasy, and it's leading many Christians to opposite direction from the path of righteousness, and it's leading many Christians to unrighteousness and unholiness. So I encourage you all who are viewing this video, no matter what churches you belong to, realize that all the ways going against the righteousness and holiness of God is an apostasy, and realize that everyone has to repent and throw out all the unrighteousness and wickedness and start walking the narrow way and follow Jesus. And only those will be elected, as this book describes. I wish you blessings from the Lord.